The rain hammered the windshield like impatient fingers as Mia Thompson gripped the steering wheel of her old Honda Civic. It was 8:47 p.m., and she was already 47 minutes late for the blind date her best friend had sworn would be perfect. Her scrubs, once a crisp teal, were now a horror show of dark crimson stains that had soaked through the fabric hours ago. The metallic tang of blood still clung to her skin, mixed with the sharp bite of antiseptic from the ER. She stared at her reflection in the rearview mirror. Exhausted hazel eyes, hair pulled into a messy ponytail with strands escaping like surrender flags, and a smear of something that might have been dried blood or just shadow on her cheek. "This is insane," she whispered to herself. "He's going to take one look and bolt." But canceling now felt worse. After 12 straight hours in the trauma bay, Mia had promised herself she wouldn't let work swallow every scrap of her personal life. Not again. So she texted the address one more time, apologized for the delay, and drove the last 6 blocks to the quiet suburban street where Ethan Ramirez waited. Ethan was a struggling single dad who worked 2 jobs, days at a warehouse, nights doing freelance graphic design from his tiny home office, just to keep the lights on, and his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, in dance classes and decent shoes. He'd agreed to the blind date mostly to shut his sister up. "You need to meet someone who isn't a cartoon character on a screen, Ethan," she'd said. So here he was, in a slightly wrinkled button-down, pacing the living room of his modest rental while Lily peeked through the curtains every 30 seconds. "Daddy, is she coming? You said she's a nurse. Do nurses bring stickers?" Ethan chuckled despite the knot in his stomach. "Maybe, kiddo. But don't get your hopes up. She might be tired." The knock finally came, hesitant, almost apologetic. Ethan opened the door and froze. Mia stood under the porch light, shoulders hunched against the rain, blood-soaked scrubs plastered to her frame. A faint smear of red streaked her left forearm. She looked like she'd stepped straight out of a nightmare. I'm so sorry," she stammered, voice cracking with exhaustion. There was a multi-car pile-up on the highway. 3 criticals. "I couldn't leave until the shift change. I know this is disgusting. I should have gone home and changed, but I didn't want to be even later. If you want me to leave, I completely understand." Lily's small face appeared beside her father's leg, wide brown eyes taking in the sight. "Whoa. Are you okay, lady? Did you get hurt?" Mia's heart twisted. She crouched down instinctively, ignoring the ache in her knees. "No, sweetheart. I'm fine. This isn't my blood. I was helping other people who were hurt really bad." Ethan didn't speak for a long moment. Most men would have wrinkled their nose, made an excuse, or politely suggested rescheduling. Instead, something shifted in his expression, recognition, maybe even respect. "Come in," he said quietly, stepping aside. "You look like you've been through hell. Lily, go grab the first aid kit from the bathroom, okay? Not for boo-boos, just in case." Mia blinked, stunned. "You don't mind?" "Mind?" Ethan gave a short, tired laugh as he closed the door behind her. "Lady, I've had Lily puke on me during a 3 a.m. fever spike while I was on a deadline. Blood is just Tuesday. Sit down before you fall down." He guided her to the small kitchen table, poured her a glass of water, and then, without asking, filled the electric kettle. While it heated, he disappeared into the hallway and returned with a clean gray hoodie and a pair of his sister's old yoga pants that she'd left behind once. "Bathrooms down the hall. Shower if you want. These might not fit perfect, but they're clean. I'll throw your scrubs in the washer. No big deal." Mia's eyes welled up before she could stop them. The kindness hit harder than any trauma code. "I don't even know your last name yet, and you're offering me your clothes." "Ethan Ramirez," he said, extending a hand with a gentle smile. "And you're Mia Thompson, right? The one who saves lives while the rest of us are just trying to survive ours." Least I can do is run a load of laundry. In the bathroom, Mia peeled off the ruined scrubs, letting the hot water wash away the day's carnage. She cried quietly, tears mixing with the steam, partly from relief, partly from the sheer weight of the last 12 hours. When she emerged in the oversized hoodie that smelled faintly of laundry detergent and something warm like home, she felt almost human again. Lily was waiting in the living room with a plate of slightly burnt grilled cheese sandwiches and a glass of apple juice. "Daddy makes the best ones," she announced proudly. "Even when he burns the edges." Ethan had dimmed the lights and put on a soft playlist of acoustic covers. He'd also changed into a fresh shirt himself, as if to level the playing field. They ate at the kitchen table while Lily colored at the coffee table nearby, occasionally glancing over with curious eyes. "So," Ethan said, not prying but clearly interested, "want to talk about it? Or we can pretend tonight was normal and just eat sandwiches like civilized people." Mia surprised herself by laughing. "Normal went out the window when I showed up looking like an extra from a horror movie." She told him everything: the teenager with the severed femoral artery from shattered glass, the mother who coded twice before they got her back, the chaos of the trauma bay where time dissolved, and all that mattered was the next set of hands, the next decision. Ethan listened without interrupting, nodding at the right moments, asking gentle questions that showed he actually understood the weight of it. "I lost my wife 2 years ago to a sudden aneurysm," he said quietly when she finished. One minute she was laughing at Lily's silly dance, the next, gone. The paramedics were amazing, but the hospital staff, nurses especially, kept us going through the worst night of my life. I've never forgotten that. So when you walked in tonight, covered in someone else's fight, I saw that same dedication. Not gross. Heroic." Mia set her sandwich down, throat tight. "Most guys see the scrubs and the blood and think, messy job, messy life. They don't stick around for the 3 a.m. pages or the days I come home too drained to speak." "I'm not most guys," Ethan replied simply. "I'm a single dad scraping by on minimum wage and hope. My life is messy too. Lily's school projects, surprise fevers, rent that keeps creeping up. I get what it means to show up when you're running on fumes." Lily chose that moment to climb into Mia's lap, uninvited but completely trusting. "You smell better now," she declared, resting her head against the hoodie. "Can you read me a story before bed? Daddy does voices, but he's tired too." Mia glanced at Ethan, who shrugged with a soft smile. "Only if you want to. No pressure." They ended up on the worn couch, Lily sandwiched between them, as Mia read The Paper Bag Princess, in a slightly hoarse but animated voice. Ethan supplied the dragon roars, making Lily giggle until her eyes drooped. When the little girl finally fell asleep against her father's side, Ethan carried her to bed with the practiced ease of someone who'd done it 1,000 times. He returned to find Mia standing by the window, staring at the rain. "You didn't have to do any of this," she said softly. "Most people would have sent me home." Ethan stepped closer, careful not to crowd her. "Most people haven't held their dying wife's hand while nurses fought for every second. Most people don't know what it costs to keep showing up. You did tonight. The least I could do was meet you where you were." He reached out and gently wiped a stray water droplet from her cheek, leftover from the shower or maybe a tear, she wasn't sure. The touch was feather-light, but it sent warmth spreading through her chest. They talked until midnight, about Lily's obsession with ballet, Ethan's dream of starting his own small design studio, Mia's fear that she'd never have a family because her job devoured everything. He didn't offer solutions or empty promises. He just listened, shared his own scars, and made her laugh with stories of Lily trying to help him cook and ending up with pancake batter on the ceiling. When it was time for her to leave, Ethan walked her to the door. Her scrubs were clean and folded neatly in a plastic bag, still slightly warm from the dryer. "Next time," he said, "if there is a next time, maybe we do dinner at a normal hour. Or I bring takeout to the hospital parking lot if that's easier. I'm flexible." Mia smiled, really smiled, for the first time in what felt like weeks. I'd like that. A lot. She drove home through the easing rain, the blood-soaked scrubs now just a memory in a laundry bag. For once, the exhaustion felt lighter, shared. 3 months later, the story of the nurse who showed up late in blood-soaked scrubs had become family legend. Mia and Ethan's second date turned into a third, then a fourth. Lily started calling her Nurse Mia and then simply Mia, with the easy affection of a child who decided someone belonged. One quiet evening, after Lily was asleep, Ethan pulled Mia close on that same worn couch. I was terrified that night, he admitted. Not because of the blood. Because I thought you'd see my tiny house, my tired eyes, my kid who still has nightmares sometimes, and decide it was too much. Mia rested her head against his shoulder. And I thought you'd see the mess I was and run. Instead, you offered me clean clothes and grilled cheese and your whole heart. He kissed her forehead. Turns out messy people make the best matches. Outside, the rain had stopped. Inside, two struggling souls, and one small girl with big dreams, had found something neither expected, a place where showing up, no matter how late or how stained, was enough to start something beautiful. And that, more than any dramatic rescue in the ER, shocked everyone who heard the story. Because in a world quick to judge appearances and inconvenience, one single dad had chosen compassion instead. He didn't see a disaster in blood-soaked scrubs. He saw a woman who gave everything she had to save strangers, and decided, right then, that she deserved someone willing to do the same for her. The end wasn't a fairy tale with perfect timing and spotless clothes. It was better, real, raw, and built on the kind of grace that shows up exactly when you need it most, late, tired, and covered in the evidence of a hard day, but still choosing to stay.